As we continue our effort to DOGE California state government, we have a bombshell revelation of a massive fraud occurring in California colleges and universities. And it's not what you think. This is willful, illegal misconduct by Gavin Newsom and top university and college administrators across the state. Coming up, we have all the details and what we're doing to stop it and save taxpayers' money. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state representative representing District 75 in the California State Assembly. As many of you know, we've been on an effort to DOGE California state and local government. We're taking the DOGE project from the federal government that Trump and Elon Musk have, and we're applying it to state and local government because you know that Newsom and the Democrats that run our state, run it into the ground, refuse to kick the tires, shine a light, and really look at what's going on with the money. In fact, they're the ones who are misappropriating. They're the ones supporting the wasteful spending and, yes, illegality and corruption. For those of you who want more information on our DOGE efforts, before I get to the scandal that we want to cover in California colleges and universities, check out our website, reformcalifornia.org right now, reformcalifornia.org, and you'll see that we have our DOGE California effort where we're hiring outside investigators, forensic accountants, researchers, and we are pouring through state and local government budgets, audit reports, financial statements to expose waste, fraud, and abuse, and yes, illegal actions and corruption. And we're on a roll. We are literally teeing up bombshell after bombshell, exposing the rot in California state and local government. But we can't do this without your help. So when you go to that website, reformcalifornia.org, please chip in a contribution to our DOGE California efforts. Unlike President Trump and Elon Musk, who can use federal government employees to do their research and investigations, we got to do all of our stuff on the outside. So help us by pitching in a contribution. Also, sign up at the bottom of that website so you continue to receive updates on what we're finding about California state and local government so that you can share it with your friends, family, and neighbors, because you know, the liberal media, they don't want anyone to know about this. Finally, on that point, like and subscribe to this channel. It helps us break through the algorithm and bring this story, this latest revelation of waste and fraud, and yes, I believe illegal activity by government administrators, brings that to public light because we know the liberal media won't cover this story. So like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this episode of our podcast with all your friends and family. Now, a few years ago, you may have recalled that when Governor Gavin Newsom in 2020 shut down our economy, a bunch of people became unemployed, and that meant a bunch of people had to rush and get unemployment benefits. In fact, some of you, for the first time in your life, may have actually had to apply for unemployment benefits through no fault of your own, by the way. It was a forced shutdown of our entire economy. It was reckless. Well, what happened from that process was a bunch of fraudsters said, well, since everyone is lining up to get EDD benefits, unemployment insurance benefits, why don't we start putting together fictitious unemployed people and getting fraudulent benefits? And it wasn't a few fraudsters that did this. We're talking $30 billion of fraud. Here is a story from 2022. Analysis shows California EDD fraud at $32.6 billion and counting. This was all done by Gavin Newsom's administration. He presided over gross negligence. And this guy doesn't care because his view was, it's not my money. I'm giving out money to the criminals, and at least some of it's going to stay in California because they have to have a California address. No, these were people all over the world getting your taxpayer money. And again, he didn't care because his view was it's going to get reimbursed by the federal government, or if it doesn't get reimbursed by the federal government because it is fraudulent, then I'll just put it on the backs of employers through a payroll tax. That's exactly what happened. Governor Gavin Newsom did not get reimbursed from the federal government for the fraudulent payments. So he took out a loan of $30 billion. And on that loan, he still owes about $26 billion. And the loan is actually growing. He's not actually paying down the principal. So what he did this year is he spiked the payroll tax for every small business, every employer in the state of California. Billions of dollars of increased payroll taxes, meaning that creating a job in California is less attractive here than any other state. That's money out of the pockets of workers. That's money from small businesses that are already thinking about leaving our state and taking their jobs with them. Fraud is a big deal. It's not a victimless crime when you're dealing with government money. You eventually, as the taxpayer, pay for the misdeeds of these criminals, and the fact that your politicians, Gavin Newsom and California Democrats who run the show, can't blame any Republicans, they don't have any control. These asshats are the ones that have made such a mess. And they're continuing to do it. So you would think that after the EDD fraud scandal, that Newsom would be embarrassed and would say, well, we can't have something like this ever happen again. Oh, that's when the UC system, the California colleges and universities, the public universities said, hold my beer. We got a fraud scandal that will put this one, down the rankings. Here's how it works. In California, like any other state, these government universities and colleges have grown so big as politicians at both the federal level and the state level have just thrown more money, free money at these college kids. Everyone likes to think that getting a college degree is a make it or break it, but many of these degrees are less and less valuable. And kids are going to colleges and universities, and they're not actually learning what they're supposed to learn. They're learning a lot of things about wokeism and how to be a political protester and how to support Hamas. But they're not actually doing a good job, all right? So the quality of these schools has plummeted, while the cost has exponentially increased. We made more free money available, so the cost inflation to get a college degree has skyrocketed off the charts. There's now an incentive for these education bureaucrats to continue to grow the pie. They want more money. This is a business for them. It's about how much money can they rake in. And so what has started to happen with the era of artificial intelligence, AI and other technology tools, fraudsters are able to set up fictitious people, fictitious students, and actually enroll in community colleges and the UC system and the CSU system. They're enrolling in these colleges and universities, government universities here in California. California is uniquely targeted by this because we are so mismanaged as a state. So they create fake students who enroll in these colleges and universities. And when they enroll in these universities, they take a position from another worthy student, a real student. They then enroll in classes, and real students can't actually get their class of choice for their degree. So it's having a direct impact on the kids by having fictitious students enrolling in these classes. Why are they doing this? They're not just doing it because, let's see if we can enroll half the students in a class are fictitious and surprise the professor on day one when they show up and nobody's there. Well, a lot of these classes are now online. Not all classes are in person. But yes, it is very true. You can ask any college professor, any student. There are half full classrooms because it looks like it was a full class, but many of the students are fictitious. Anyway, so they take up these spaces. But what the fraudsters are really after is not the degree for a phony, fictitious person. They apply for financial aid. You got it. There you go. Always comes back to the government chum. There you go. Follow the money, honey. If it has to deal with so-called good-intentioned government funds, money that we're giving to these poor kids, no, you're giving it to the fraudsters sitting in some, Indian sub-basement. And they're taking our money. So they apply for financial aid, and the financial aid starts flowing. And these fraudsters are actually like pretending to do homework and pretending to do classwork. They've made it very difficult to detect phony students. And the longer they're able to go through that class, the longer they get the money. Now, the professors know that this is happening, but there is a challenge. The challenge is if you drop a bunch of students from your class, it looks like, well, you're doing a bad job as a professor. nobody really wants your class. So even the professors have an incentive not to deal with the fraud. Certainly the university has an incentive not to deal with the fraud. Why? They're getting the money. It's tuition that they're able to charge. And then, of course, the fraudster is getting financial aid for all sorts of other things. So that's how the scheme works. It's pretty clever as schemes go, but it rivals this unemployment fraud scheme. And so here you've got Cal Matters covering the story, but they're not even covering the real portion of the story as I just walked through. Their numbers are way off from what the real fraud is. It says fake student aid, California colleges detect more fraudsters stealing millions. You would think, oh, the colleges are diligently scouring their books to make sure that fraud's not happening. Bitch, please. They don't care. They look the other way because they're benefiting from this. There is no penalty for the college or university in this process. The penalty is borne by you, the taxpayer. It goes on to say that for years, scammers have targeted community colleges across the state, posing as students in order to steal money from scholarships or government financial aid, as I just explained. Recent state reports suggest the problem is getting worse, and college leaders say they're worried that the Trump administration, here we go. It's not Newsom's fault. It's not the college administrator's fault who's been letting it go on for years under the Biden administration. No, it's Orange Man bad. Trump's at fault because he's going to cut funding to colleges and universities, and that could hamper fraud investigations and prevention. Guys, you weren't doing anything about this problem when the money was flowing freely. Let me show you what Trump is going after. He's going after the DEI programs. And of course, take a look at these protesters. Ignorance costs more than education. I don't know, somewhere a village is missing its village idiot there. Here we are here. Department of Education ensures equal access to good education. Why is that a problem? Meanwhile, all these fraudsters are sitting there saying, that's right, get out there, make sure that money continues to flow. Do you see any protesters saying, we've got to deal with the incompetence of allowing fraudsters to take precious, scarce seats from students and making it harder for them to get their degree? We have to stop fraud in scholarships and financial aid because that's taking money out of the pocket of a worthy student? No. Again, two village idiots. Sorry about the villages that are missing the idiots. That's what the media is focusing on. And the Cal Matters story, again, to their credit, they mention this story, but they blame Donald Trump. Oh, it's going to get worse. Well, it's been getting worse under Biden. You didn't have a big story under that. It says here in 2021, the California Community College's Chancellor's Office reported that about 20% of college applicants were likely fake. That's in 2021. You ready for this, guys? In 2024, it was up to 25%. Now, this year, it's up to 34%. 1 out of 3 college applicants is a fraudster. It's fake. 1 out of 3. You would think that this would be front page news, but no. It's another day at the office. And what they're missing out on is the fact that the colleges and universities are financially benefiting from it. Here, they have a little graph down here. Here are the scammers stealing more financial aid each year. Here we've got, and this is known fraud. Okay, so I will tell you, when you're not looking for fraud, when it has to smack you in the face in order for you to say, oh, this is a fraudulent payment, you know that the numbers that are being reported are going to be substantially, exponentially higher. So take a look at the trend. Every year higher. Last year, $8.3 million in federal aid stolen, $2.7 million in state aid. That's $11 million last year. And again, they're not really looking very hard to detect and prevent the fraud. So these numbers are the drop in the bucket. Consider them like a sampling of a bigger problem. And as of March 20th, just a few months into the year, we're almost to $4 million. We're going to get at least 16 to 20 million in detected fraud by the end of the year. But again, these detection systems are simply inadequate. Look, at Reform California, we are shining a light on this sort of scam, this fraud. It's exactly what DOGE is doing at the federal level, because we're talking about real damage done to the students who are not able to get the classes they need, who are not able to enroll. We're talking about massive damage to our taxpayers who are footing the bill. Financial aid taken out of the pockets of needy students that could benefit from it. But let's just be clear here. The whole college and university system, in essence, is a fraud on so many levels. They're giving out degrees that no longer have value. I mean, what are you going to do with a gender studies degree? I have a PhD in gender studies. Great. You get to be a co-host on The View. Oh, sorry. They already have a full slate. You're not going to be able to pay off your college loans for these degrees because they're not worth anything. But it doesn't matter because people think inherently, oh, well, everyone should get a college degree. Everyone should get a master's degree and a PhD in whatever, navel gazing. That's not how this system should work. If this were a private enterprise, taking government money, allowing fraud to happen, giving out worthless degrees, people graduating, massive debt, you would have major oversight. You'd have indictments, perhaps. You would at least have regulation. It would be considered consumer fraud, but no, in the California UC, CSU, and community college system, it's another day at the office. Again, these are important programs. I'm mocking the leadership of these institutions because they are heinously wrong. They have let down the students and they have let down you as a California taxpayer. It's time to shake it up. I serve as the vice chair of the Higher Education Committee. We have oversight over colleges and universities. And on my first hearing 2 months ago, I said, we're going to be doing DOGE California on the UC, CSU, and community college systems across our state. We're doing that. But I need your help. So go to the website, reformcalifornia.org, chip in a contribution to our DOGE California efforts, as well as sign up at the bottom of the site, because we do our voter guide every single election with the plain English descriptions of all the ballot measures, as well as endorsements for, yes, community college districts, state legislature. These are the positions that can have a big impact on fixing this fraudulent scam that we've detected. Sign up at the bottom of that website, first name, last name, email, phone, and zip code, and you will be tethered into our growing movement here at Reform California. Again, like and subscribe to this video, share it with your friends and family so we can break through the censorship of the liberal media. Until next time, I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state representative. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.